I don't know if you guys agree with me, but this picture feels like the perfect depiction of Sunday's game against Chicago. Baltimore went into that one looking at the Chicago Bears and saying, based on the result of this game, there are two different paths this team could go on for the rest of this 2025 season. There's one where you win it. Things are a little bit better. Sunshine, rainbows. You probably become buyers at the deadline. However, there's a much darker path where you lose that game, you become sellers, and let's just face it, your season's probably over. Well, you went down the sunshine path. I believe that they are about to go into the trade deadline, which is only 5 days away, 6 days away, and I believe that they will be buyers heading into that. A couple of reasons I believe that. Only 2 games back from the lead in this division. That's right, just 2 games back from Pittsburgh, and you still get to play Pittsburgh twice. You're going into part of your schedule that is the easiest part of your schedule as well. You got massive holes in your roster, both on the defensive side of the ball and the offensive side of the ball with the interior of that offensive line. You have a bevy of draft picks at your disposal, 5 fifth-round picks to be exact, and you still have an elite quarterback, Lamar Jackson, who I think we all firmly believe anytime he is on the football field, you can win any game you play. Another reason why I feel like they will be buyers, well, John Harbaugh basically admitted it yesterday in his post-press conference. This tweet coming from Jeff Zreback. Harbaugh said he has regular dialogue with Eric DeCosta about trade possibilities. So we know it is something that the top brass of this Ravens organization not only are talking about it, but they're talking about it regularly. And we know that they've also had this dialogue for weeks. Like, this isn't something brand new. This isn't something that just started a couple of days ago. This has been something that Harbaugh has been confirming, Harbaugh has been talking about for a very, very long time. Over 3 weeks, to be exact, when Jeff Zreback tweeted this out. Harbaugh said he believes DeCosta will continue to have discussions about adding a pass rusher ahead of the trade deadline. Well, since this was tweeted out, they have made no moves. They have added no pass rushers, at least via trade. They did sign Carl Lawson. But regardless, because of this, I feel like something's about to happen pretty soon. Not before Thursday Night Football, but you have a nice little 4-day window after you're done playing the Dolphins where you have to make a decision and you've got time to do stuff. I just refuse to believe that this is it. Although I do like the fact that Alohi Gilman has looked great and he has allowed Kyle Hamilton to have a little bit more of free roam and free reign. Trading away Odafe Oweh and adding Alohi Gilman, that's not the end of this season, okay? Or at least the end of their moves, I should say. So coming up, an NFL insider talks what he believes the Ravens trade target will be, and then I'll tell you exactly within that position group who I believe the Ravens should be targeting. Before that, though, make sure you're subscribed to the channel. It's free. That's it. I shouldn't really need to convince you much more. It's easy to do. There's another convincing argument. And also, it'll help us climb up those chat sports sub rankings. You can see us right there, finally getting out of the 30Ks. But up next, Falcons today, Broncos breakdown, Commanders report, all within shouting distance of us right here at the Ravens Rundown. If you want to help us prove to our bosses here, prove to everybody at Chat Sports that the Ravens fans truly are the best in the National Football League, subscribe, help us climb those rankings. So today's intel comes from Dan Graziano with ESPN. Him and Jerry Fowler released an article earlier this morning that talked a ton about trade intel across the National Football League, but here's a little bit more about the Ravens specifically. Don't roll out the possibility of them adding more help on defense. Beating Miami on Thursday Night Football could put them right back in the playoff hunt. The Ravens are middle of the pack in cap space and have plenty of picks they could deal. Key position of need, edge rusher. The question is really, where are the Ravens injured this week? But right now, that seems to be on the edge. Tavius Robinson is on injured reserve because of a foot injury. And so with Tavius Robinson on injured reserve and not being on this active roster currently, that leaves you 3 edge rushers. Kyle Van Noy, who I love him, you love him, but let's face it, he's a grandpa. He's a boomer. He's 34 years old. You got Mike Green, who showed a lot of flashes. The first time, really, against the Chicago Bears, came up with his first NFL sack in a massive moment as well, but he's just a rookie. And then David Ajabo, who, let's be real, not very good. Edge rusher isn't a want necessarily. It's a need. not to quote a Drake song with Lil Baby, but it's 100% true. This team doesn't just want help at the edge, it needs help at the edge. Because you look at the pass rush statistics, and they are bottom of the barrel. 9 sacks on the year, 30th best in the NFL, or third worst, depending on whatever way you want to look at it. Quarterback pressure is only 78, 28th best. Quarterback pressure rate, 28.0% flat. That's 28th best in the National Football League as well. Bottom 5, bottom 5, bottom 3. Okay? So stick around. Don't go anywhere. Who I believe the Baltimore Ravens should target at that edge position, that is coming up next. Okay? Stick around with us. Before that, I got to tell you about our awesome sponsor of today's video. That's our friends at Ethos. As you know, my wife Kennedy and I got married a year and a half ago. I imagine we'll buy a house, start having kids sometime soon, and if something were to happen to me, the last thing I want the people I love to worry about is being able to pay the bills. So I trust Ethos to keep them protected. It's not fun to think about what would happen if something happened, but you do need to be prepared. With life insurance through Ethos, your family is protected. Life insurance is a perfect way to make sure you're covered. You can get your free quote at ethos.com/NFL Daily. That's ethos.com/NFL Daily. There's no complicated process, and it's 100% online. As of March 2025, Business Insider named Ethos as the #1 no medical exam instant life insurance provider. Just answer a few health questions and get a quote in as little as 10 minutes. 3 million families have completed their applications and trusted Ethos to help find the right coverage. Protect your family with life insurance from Ethos. Get your free quote at ethos.com/NFL Daily. That's ethos.com/NFL Daily. Application times may vary. Rates may vary as well. On to our edge trade targets. Engage. We're just going to do these two back to back. We got Jaelan Phillips, edge rusher for the Miami Dolphins, and his Robin to his Batman, or Batman to his Robin, Bradley Chubb, also edge rusher with the Miami Dolphins. Look, if you beat Miami this week, they will be sellers, okay? If you don't, they might have a little bit of hope, but if you beat them, that's pretty much the end of their season. Not to speak too much into the future. Anyway, Adam Schefter talks a little bit more about those trade targets. I think Miami will move at least one of their pass rushers, either Jaelan Phillips or Bradley Chubb. Now, out of those two, I feel like for Baltimore, Chubb is a little bit more likely. However, if you're looking at it from Miami's perspective, they can get more for Jaelan Phillips. So if they have to move one of the two of them, they probably would want to move the guy they can get a little bit of higher pick for. Regardless, either one of them, I think, would be a great asset to the Baltimore Ravens. If you look at their numbers, they're very similar in some aspects. Some are better, like Chubb has more tackles for loss, and sacks. However, Jaelan Phillips has 27 quarterback pressures and a higher quarterback pressure percentage. I said Chubb is more likely. Let's talk about his trade first. I believe, okay, you could get Bradley Chubb for a 2026 fifth-round pick. Now, why do I believe that, you ask? Well, I talked to our Dolphins insider, Nick Roloff, and he told me straight up, fifth-round pick. So I'm going to go ahead and believe him on it. For Jaelan Phillips, that's going to be a little bit more rich, okay? A 2026 fourth-round pick, and depending how he plays, probably on Thursday, if he goes out and absolutely balls out and the edge rusher market kind of just stays stagnant, he believes the Dolphins could maybe even get a third-rounder for Jaelan Phillips. You have a million fifth-rounders. Hell, give them 2. I don't care. Right? If you are being stingy for Bradley Chubb with your fifth-round draft picks, that is the most ludicrous, unbelievable thing I've ever heard in my entire life. Because you have 5 fifth-rounders. So if they ask for 4 of them, I don't care. Obviously, I'm speaking hyperbolically. I would care in that sense. But I think you know what I'm getting at. Which of those two would you rather have? Let me know down below. Give me a BC or a JP. Which Dolphin do you want on the line for the Baltimore Ravens? Let me know your answer. Coming up next is our spiciest one. Let's talk about Max Crosby. Defensive end edge rusher for the Las Vegas Raiders. And like I said earlier, if you somehow, Eric DeCosta, managed to pull this one off, I mean, I would just go ahead and start to have doing this, right? This one would be pretty electric. It would be pretty spicy. And because of that, it's probably, like, let's be honest, a little bit on the unrealistic side. Our main man, Ricky Scoops, came out on Twitter basically about a week ago. He's kind of been coming in and out of flashes, and he's been dropping hints and nuggets here and there because we got the report from Trey Wingo that the Cowboys were working on a trade with Max Crosby, or at least inquiring about him. And then Ricky Scoops came out, I think a day later, maybe that same day, said, sorry, Cowboys fans, I've been told the Raiders won't be trading Max Crosby before the deadline. However, we still have time until the deadline. I don't think this deal is 100% guaranteed to never happen because I believe there's so many reasons that Max Crosby should leave the Las Vegas Raiders, okay? Las Vegas, let's just call it what it is. It is a train wreck. The Raiders suck. They're going nowhere, and they are nowhere close to competing anytime soon. He is wasting his career in Las Vegas. And if he comes to Baltimore, he is automatically a top 3 player on this team. He's right there behind Kyle Hamilton and Lamar Jackson. He could be such an asset for you. I don't care if it costs you a first-rounder and a fourth-rounder. Eric DeCosta at least be picking up that phone and calling John Spytek. The last edge rusher target is Jermaine Johnson. I feel like of these 4, I feel like Jermaine Johnson is probably the most likely. We all know the New York Jets, even though they got their first win this last weekend. Shout out to them for beating Cincinnati. We do know that they are going to be sellers at the deadline. And Ricky Scoops tweeted out last week when he came back for just about 24 hours. He says it sounds like the Jets are making Jermaine Johnson available in trade talks, and he could be dealt before next month's trade deadline. Jermaine Johnson's stat line is nothing like unbelievable. It's not going to just make you want to go run through a brick wall and get this guy to Baltimore as quickly as possible. But I see so much potential with his athletic traits, and I feel like if you get him on this defensive line and out of the New York Jets defensive line and just team in general, I believe he could be a star. I believe he could bud, okay? All in all, any 4 of those guys I'd be pumped up about. Any 4 of those guys, I would be one of the ones most excited about making that move because at the end of the day, I think you need something to happen. What I need to happen is you guys follow me on social media, Twitter, Instagram, Joey Petersen 8, both of those platforms. And if you're not subscribed to the channel, make sure that changes today. Anything that happens at any time for the Baltimore Ravens, we get you covered as quickly as possible right here at the Ravens Rundown.